Hello, everybody. I pray that today has found you extremely well. And we've got 1 hour to just be able to talk. And we will just put a lot of things out here today. But before I start talking about all of those things, if you would like and share and let everybody know that we're on today, it's going to be a very interesting um, conversation that we're getting ready to have. And so I want everybody to make sure that we get connected. Facebook, you can jump on Facebook or connect with us with Facebook with Dr. Kevin A. Williams, Instagram, Dr. Kevin A. Williams Official, X at Dr. KAW Official, YouTube at Kevin A. Williams 777, and you can email us at megabossnews777 at gmail.com. Again, that's megabossnews777 at gmail.com. Also, we would like for you to support us on today. And if you would, these are the ways that you can support us. And we're asking for, if those that can, if you would give $7, that would be great. If you're unable to do that, that is perfectly fine as well. But we're asking you to support us. And there are 4 ways that you can give, which is Cash App, $ Dr. Kevin A. Williams, Zelle, Dr. Kevin A. Williams at gmail.com, paypal.me/Dr. Kevin A. Williams. And you can mail it to 1822 Sharp Road, Greensboro, North Carolina, 27406. I also, and I'll see if my staff can find it and pull it up, because I want to also pull up the fact that we've got a boxing match that is coming up. And so before this podcast is over, maybe I can put that up as well. Just want to show a flyer or two concerning that. And just thought about it, so my staff is probably going to choke me for this. But anyway, so there's several things that I want to discuss. Those of you that are watching, and thank you for jumping on. We've got some interesting conversation right now, very interesting conversation. On the other day, and let me share with you my perspective. So I'm going to just go ahead and address this, get this out of the way. And that is that we had an election. And from that election, then our next president is going to be Donald Trump. We understood that. We see that. I think that he won with 312, I think, electoral votes. And Kamala Harris went, I think, with 200 and maybe 26 electoral votes, give or take. I may be off in the numbers a little bit. But the American people have spoken. That is it. All right. So here is my philosophy. Whether you agree with it or not, here's my philosophy. The bottom line is that he is our next president. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, whether you voted for him, whether you didn't vote for him, he is our next president. There's nothing we can do about that. One of the things that I have learned about people, and that is that sometimes we're so busy committing to hate something or having an issue with something or arguing about something or debating about something that we're not jumping on the bandwagon that business minds do, to say, okay, how do we adjust to the news that's happening and what do we do next? And so I think that one of the things that is extremely important is that right now Americans need to be able to, number one, heal. America just has to heal because this presidential race was very heated. Everyone believed very strongly wherever they were. And now that the election is over, the odd conversation that is in the room is when someone starts saying either positive or negative predicated on the results, because they want people to be able to see what they want to see if other people are agreeing with them. And then based on that, they use that to now gauge who you voted for. And please understand right now, fussing about it for the next 4 years is not going to help you or me. It's not going to help anybody. So here's the deal. As he has already won, now we got to see how the world is shifting and changing predicated on that. And what do we do about that? I'm going to ask that as we're moving forward, there are some things that we just have to shift our mind concerning that. It is almost like It is almost like your house burning down. I guess that's a decent way to talk about it. So what happens when your house burned down? You can cry about it, you can go through changes, this, that, and the other, but going to the house every day and looking at the ashes is not going to change anything. So now you're going to have to take advantage of going to the insurance company, talking to them, and getting your house fixed. You're going to have to see all the ins and outs of benefits that can happen for you and what you can do based on the fact of the tragedy that has taken place. When it comes to anything that happens in our lives, we have to look at, all right, so what are the positives that come out of that? What can we do with that? What is happening in the world? How has the world reset itself? And right now, the United States is in a very, very unique position. Donald Trump has not taken office yet. He will not take office until January the 20th. He will not take office until January the 20th. So with between now and that time, there are a lot of things that have taken place, and I don't know if you know them all. I don't know them all, but I'm going to give you a list of things that have taken place since it has been announced that he won. That's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to give you a list of things that have taken place since it has been announced that Donald Trump has won the presidency and he's the United States president for the next 4 years. Now, I was going to put, I just didn't have time. I've really been busy. I didn't have time to get all of my my post up to show you where I got my information from. So I'll just share it right now, and then at a later time, if I need to, I'll put the post up. Or either another thing that you can do, and that is just look it up yourself, and you can see what I'm saying. All right, so this is what has happened since Trump has come into office, and I want you all to tell me your perspective of what I'm getting ready to say. Since Trump has come into office, he has publicly hired the first female chief of staff. That he's the first president to hire a female chief of staff, to my understanding. And I'll fact check myself on that, but definitely he has hired a female chief of staff. Also, the Taliban now, after, and all of this is after the Trump win, the Taliban wants to be taken off the United States terror list. Putin and says that the United States is not an enemy. They're no longer an enemy and would like to work with the United States. Mexico has decided that they want to aid and help in fixing the border. Saudi Arabia has stated that Hamas leaders are no longer welcome in their country. New York is fixing their illegal immigration issues and challenges. China wants to, Xi Jinping and China has publicly stated that they want a peaceful coexistence with the United States. Europe says that they want to buy natural gas from the United States. Putin says that Trump has a way of ending the war with Ukraine, and Russia wants to support in ending the war concerning Ukraine. The Houthis are backing away from the areas that they're trying to terrorize. Hamas has called for immediate end to the war after Trump has was declared the winner. Trump then states that he wants to push for term limits for politicians so that politicians are not living the rest of their life basically in office and becoming 80, 90 years old, things like that. So he says that he believes there should be a term limit, so he's pushing that. S&P closes over S&P 500 closes over 6,000 for the first time in history. Yesterday was the single biggest day price increase in Bitcoin history, with $765 billion were added to the cryptocurrency. Putin says he now wants to sell Russian oil and he wants to use the U.S. dollar. They can buy it with the U.S. dollar. 13 stocks make $1 trillion. I'm sorry, 13 stocks make investors $1 trillion richer after Trump win. Italy officially passes an anti-surrogacy law that effectively bans gay couples from becoming parents. All of this has been since the Trump announcement. Tell me your thoughts. That's a lot to digest, but tell me your thoughts. Are these good signs? Are these bad signs? What does it look like? And what is your perspective? Okay, what is your perspective? One of the things that while you're because I know we're delayed a little bit and you got to type it in and that's fine. But one of the things that we are looking at now is we're seeing how the world is responding. And because the world is responding a certain way, and Cosmia said it's good signs, because the world is responding a certain way, we also are looking at the fact that he's not in office yet. Now, I'm going to share my perspective in a couple of things that has just made me go, this is kind of interesting to me. Is something behind all of this? Just maybe. I'm not sure. Let's take a look. Good signs. They recognize Trump authority and respect it. Okay. Let's see the next. It's looking good. I'm so glad my vote counted. All right. Let's look. We've got to see. Because see, here's the deal. The deal is whether you voted, and that's my mindset, whether you voted for him or not, this is, let me tell you what we have to start thinking about. And that is that regardless of what we feel about him, I don't want him to fail. And the reason I don't want him to fail is because this is the country that we live in. So him failing and it affecting us is not good for us. So it doesn't, if Kamala won, I would say the same thing. I don't need her to fail. I need her to win. It's because right now we're the United States and we've got to be on the same team for all of us to win. So when you're talking about all of these different things, and some people, I don't know if you're scared to comment or not, but here's the reality. Whether you're pro or against, and if you don't even like him, that's fine. But with these things that are coming out, is that good for the United States? Or like someone said, like Brenda Bryant said, is something behind all of this? Dolores says, don't know if I can receive this quick change. Yeah, I understand. All right, because we are now moving in a different kind of way. So now I'm going to, as people are putting things up and as they type them in, we have to look at it. Says something is up. Yeah. We have to, because a lot of changes. I mean, he just won the presidency last Tuesday. And the next day, it was declared that he was the winner. And Stephen A. Smith made a statement, and you have got to see, when you get a chance, go to Stephen A. Smith and see his perspective concerning the election and why he feels that the Democrats lost the election. Now, in this, I will say, I think that for the time that Kamala had, I think that she did probably one of the best jobs she could have done with only 100 some days in order to do this. Now, I don't know if this was a strategy, a political strategy or not. I have no idea. I do believe that there were people in politics that knew that President Biden was having some challenges in his body and in his memory. I believe that others knew that, but it was clear in the debate. And I think the debate sent everybody into shock. Well, if he got out there and that's what he did, that means a whole lot of people knew before that time. Go ahead and put some things up here. on didn't Trump say he was going to make the immigrants pay for the wall last time he was in office? He said he was going to make Mexico pay for the wall when he was in office. Let's take a look at anything else you put up here. That's fine, but I want to tell you. I want to tell you how we need to take a look at it at Lightning. Thank you, Bishop, for the mature perspective. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are, and I will continue to say we are all Americans, and we need this administration to win on our behalf. And I'm going to say some things at the end of this that is designed to make you think in a different kind of way. It's going to make you think in a very, very different kind of way. Now, the Taliban wants to be taken off the United States terror list. The Taliban wants to be taken off the United States terror list. They did not want to be taken off the United States terror list the whole time that Biden was in office. Before Trump goes into office, they've already publicly stated they would like to be taken off the terror list. Why? Because some of these things says to me that somebody is scared of something. Somebody is scared of something. Now, I'm going to give pros and cons to this administration in my perspective. Go ahead and put it up. I'm going to give pros and cons concerning this administration. I want to see him do well. He's the captain of the ship at this point. He is. He is. Could we clarify what will happen with the Board of Education? I will give you my perspective concerning that, most definitely. I think that, but I want to list, and I'll put that in here. I want to make sure that I write that down, Board of Education. I want to make sure that I address that before the end. But let's take a look. The Taliban wants to be taken off the terror list. Putin, who declared that the United States was an enemy of Russia during the time of the Biden administration, immediately after the win, says the United States and the United States and Russia are not enemies. Putin, what are you scared of? Mexico wants to fix the border. Mexico wants to fix the border. Hamas leaders have been in Saudi Arabia all of this time, and the moment they found out that Trump won, they told the Hamas leaders, you got to get up out of here. Now, my question to you is, why weren't these things done in the last administration? And I want to hear your view. Why weren't they done in the last administration? New York could have been fixing the immigration, illegal immigration issue. Why are they starting now? China was ready to go to war with the United States, but now Trump is in office. They said they want a peaceful coexistence, because remember, they have been circling Taiwan, and they want Taiwan. China wants Taiwan, and the reason that they want Taiwan is because Taiwan is the top chip maker in the world. All these little microchips for our cars and phones and different things like that, majority of that comes from Taiwan. China wanted that because they wanted to control that. Now, Xi Jinping is stating, I would like to have a peaceful coexistence with the United States. Go ahead and pull it up. There was an assassination attempt on Trump last week by Iranians, right? I think that there's been several attempts to kill Trump, and I think that that's going to continue to rise. Iran has always had an issue with Trump ever since he killed one of their top generals while he was in office, and they've had it out for him. And I don't believe that they're going to stop, but Iran also understands that the tariffs are getting ready to come, and Trump more than likely is going to squeeze Iran like he did the last time, and he's going to stop their money train. He did it before. Europe now wants to buy natural gas from the United States. But I'm going to tell you why. The reason that Europe wants to buy natural gas from the United States is because they're afraid of Trump's tariffs. Because Trump, the last time, said everybody's going to pay their fair share. You can feel it. There is a fear of Trump. It is. Jordan, it is. There is a great fear of Trump. And that situation that happened with the Taliban, and I don't know if you all don't know about it, I want you to know about it. That the last time Trump was in office, and he had to meet with Taliban leaders, and he said, listen, we're going to get up out of Afghanistan, and anything we're going to make this move. And he didn't get a chance to do it. Of course, Biden did pull the troops out of Afghanistan. There is conversation about how it was done, and we can hear all about that at any point. But this is what happened. If this is not, as the brother, because it was a brother that was telling it, if this ain't, he said, if this ain't gangster, I don't know. Trump told the Taliban, if one American is killed, he says, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. He told the Taliban leader, I'm killing you. Your family, you and your family are gone. If one American is killed, if a hair on an American's head is touched, it don't matter. If they're American and they're touched by your Taliban, I'm killing you. I'm killing your family. I'm destroying all of this. They said he got up from the table, took a piece of paper, put it down, and walked off. The Taliban leader picked up the piece of paper, and it was a picture, an aerial picture of his house. And they said for 18 months, not one American was touched in any kind of way. Not one. Now, the question is there a fear of Trump? Whether it's a positive or a negative fear, somebody's scared of something. Go ahead and put it up. Trump is a shrewd businessman, and he will run the country that way. Unfortunately, he is also unethical. Those countries know Trump is crazy like them. Touche. Touche. The thing that and I go ahead and put it up. This is too funny to me. All right. There was a lot of buzz on TikTok that people who have vote regret due to tariffs, BOE, and undoing the Affordable Care Act. There is a buzz that is out there. There is a major buzz that is out there, and there is a statement that they're talking about, that one of the major searches that is going on right now is people having voter regret, and they're saying, can I change my vote? So right now, a lot of them are doing that. Now, here is the perspective. The perspective is that that people are wishing now that they did not vote for Trump and wish they had voted for Kamala. That is one perspective. Another perspective is that there's some people that voted for Kamala that now wants to change to Trump because they don't want to be known as going against him. So I don't know which direction is right. All I know is that what the searches are saying, and then you have to interpret predicated on those searches. Go ahead and pull your next one up. We need a strong leader like this. If it's sent the other way, we would possibly be looking at invasion, and we're practically already being invaded by illegals. That is a very interesting perspective. And to be quite honest with you, I do believe that we need strong leadership. I don't know. I guess we will never know really if Kamala would have been a very strong leadership. I know that Kamala would have had, I think, probably an infrastructure there that was going to help her, or things like that, because running the country, and I don't think whether you're male or female, you're going to need a team to help you execute certain things. I think that with 12 to 15 million illegal immigrants that are invading and coming into our country, and they're also going into other countries as well. And all of them, and let me openly say this: there are a lot of people that have come into this country illegally, escaping bad environments, and they're coming to this country for a new start. I do not believe that everybody that came into the country illegally are bad people. I think the majority of them are good people, but I think the bad people that are illegally coming into the country are making it bad for the good people that have illegally come into the country. And whether people realize it or not, there are a lot of illegal immigrants, and maybe I'll do some kind of podcast on it, but there are a lot of illegal immigrants that are not citizens that came into the country illegally, and they are paying taxes. So the government can't say to me, with that kind of knowledge, the government can't say to me that you don't know where everybody is, because you have to know where everybody is. You got to know where a lot of them are, if in turn you're getting taxes from them. And they're paying something. If they own homes, they're paying property tax. If they own automobiles, they're paying taxes. They're able to get driver's license in certain states. So I think that our government does know that a great majority of people that have entered to the country illegally are not bad people, but there are some bad apples that have made it very difficult for everybody else. Go ahead and put the next one up. It's not a fear more than it is a confidence in his craziness. Modern day Napoleon. Well, they may be, they may have confidence and fearful at the same time. The thing is that I do believe, and I agree with you. I believe that people believe, especially these bad boys in the world, he's crazy. I think that's what they're saying in their mind. He's crazy and he will blow something up. I even heard from Lil Kim. And well, that's North Korea. I keep calling him Lil Kim. I probably need to change that. Kim Jong-un. I haven't even heard from him. So I don't think that I don't think nobody want that smoke right now. With all the things that I just read, what's that saying to me is that don't nobody want that smoke. Give me the next one. Trump may make us safe in the world. We will be safe. We will be safe in the United States? Or the question is, will we be? Because there's a question mark on that. So I think that's what she's asking. Will we be safe in the United States? That is a major question. And the thing is that there is an elephant in the room that has to be addressed. And the elephant in the room that has to be addressed is simply this: that in many times Trump's rhetoric, it causes a rise in people that are bigots, people that are prejudiced, people that are racist. There's a rise with some people, not all, but that group resonates with the Trump administration. And since he's been in office, there have been some foolishness that has come out about Black folk picking cotton, and you got to go to the report to your nearest whatever. And one of the companies traced it all the way back, because you can't really do anything in technology without leaving some kind of trail. And they chased it all the way back. And one of these, when they traced it, they traced it to one young guy. And he said, oh, it was just a joke that I was doing. And no, but I'm telling you that to address that point, I think that Trump is going to have to make a precedent concerning the Black culture or people that have brown skin, because some of these people are tripping. And I'm telling you, mess around and find out. You mess around and find out and say that to you, because there's only a few people that you can talk left to that got brown skin that's going to let you leave in peace. Because others will hand you to the street, will introduce you to the pavement, and if you push them too far, will put you right in the lap of Jesus. Now mess around and find out. And so it's going to have to be addressed. We aren't our ancestors. We are not. We are not. We're not our ancestors. And right now, you can't intimidate people like you could intimidate them before. You can't. Trust me. Trust me. Because when people think that they have a gun, please understand, you're not the only one that has a gun, and you're not the only one that will defend yourself. So I think the Trump administration is going to have to do something major concerning the Black and brown culture, because it is there is an issue. There is an issue there that you cannot, you can't say things like, I'm not prejudiced because I got Black friends. That's the worst thing that you can say. Worst thing you can say. Put the next thing up. Go ahead. I do not believe the video clips of Trump giving great oration regarding Christ and Christianity. The sentence structure and voice movement sound is not him. I haven't seen that one, so I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it. Let's see. We need Trump because he is unpredictable. I agree. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. No, when I tell you I agree, I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. Strong leadership, as opposed to the joke we would have been with Kamala, of course. Putin and others wanted her to win because they knew we would have been a lot more susceptible to a lot of dangers. I think that Putin's perspective of Kamala, I will say this. I don't know if Kamala would have been a good leader or a bad leader, but let me tell you this. I do believe, and y'all hear me when I say this and understand why I'm saying it, because I think like a business person, that Kamala would have had to make a major statement through an action to prove she ain't playing. When you are a new president and they don't know what kind of person you are, you have to do things to prove yourself, to make sure that people know I ain't the one. I think Kamala would have had to do that because she would have been the first female president. She was a first president. She was a first female president, and then on top of that, she's a person of color. The second thing is that a third thing is that she would have had to prove that the bad boys that are in the world, that she's not a pushover. So she would have had to do something major. Trump has already done that. He's already proven, try me if you want to, and I'll blow everything up. And so that's why I think a lot of them are coming into in line. Go ahead, give me the next one. I believe Trump will start a civil war here in the United States. Let me think about that. I think that I don't know if I fully agree with that. I do understand why you would say that. I do, Andre. I do understand why you would say that. I'm not sure, only because I want to have confidence in our system, and because we are a republic. So because we're a republic, I want to have a confidence in our system that the Senate and Congress won't let that happen. That if things get too crazy, we also have another button that says that if a president needs to be pulled out of office, he got to go. And so if Trump goes left and tries to be a dictator or something like that, I want to support the fact that our congressmen and our senators are going to do what's right and what's best in the United States. and we have black congressmen and black senators and people of color that is in Congress and Senate, that they will aid in sounding the alarm. Next question. Trump is the new King Cyrus, and God has used many pagan kings, leaders, whether they believe in him, in or on him. I believe that. I will agree with that. And the reason I will agree with that is because in the book of Daniel, when you look at King Cyrus, you see that God did use him to do many things for Israel, many things for Israel. And so do I believe that God, and one thing that we've got to make sure and that we understand, we are believers. And because we are believers, it doesn't matter what Trump will try to do. The righteous has never been forsaken, his seed never begging bread. God always has a way of covering us and protecting us. I don't want anybody to fear Trump more than they fear God. The Bible says, God says, I set up and I take down. I set up people in power, I take down people in power. I set up kings, I take down kings. Most definitely. Next question, next statement. Kamala Harris is a lot stronger and qualified than you think. She was the only candidate that has touched all three branches of government, and she was a defense attorney that invoked fear and respect. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. But let me put a caveat to that. That is great in the United States. She still would have to make her mark in the world, because when we're looking at all branches of government, when we're looking at being a defense attorney and things like that, you're dealing with something totally different with number one, Vladimir Putin, who said that he was doing a military exercise, and under that guy started a war and went in killing folk. When you're dealing with a Xi Jinping who has killed his own people, he went and took over areas and just wreaked havoc in his own areas. You're looking at Kim Jong-un, who, in spite of them telling him that you don't need to be working on nuclear missiles, things like that, he continued. You're talking about the Shah of Iran, who is figuring out ways to kill America. You're talking about leaders in the Middle East who have no respect for the women that are in their countries. So I think that Kamala Harris, I'm not saying that Kamala Harris is not strong. I'm not saying that. I am saying that when you start dealing with, there is a difference between playing street basketball and in the NBA. There's a difference between high school basketball, college basketball, and the NBA. There's a difference when you are boxing locally and when you're boxing in when you're a heavyweight boxing with a Mike Tyson, which I do think that Jake Paul is going to get hurt. I think that when you're dealing with, I think that Kamala would have had, I believe that she's a strong person, but I think that Kamala was going to have to prove that in the world, because the world is watching. That happened. That happened. I was responding to someone in the chat. Cool. That happened with Obama. That happened with Obama. And do you know, to this day, and a lot of people check the do the fact check. Do you know Obama was the president that deported more illegal immigrants than any other president? Than any other president. Obama. Check it out. Give me the next one. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, was very instrumental in the peace treaties in his first office, but Biden shut it down when he came in. they now will go forth with those peace treaties for Israel. I believe that they will. I do. I believe that they will. And I also believe that the people that were giving us issues, the countries that were giving us issues, Saudi Arabia has already shifted. Now, remember, when Biden went to Saudi Arabia to get oil for the United States, he came back with nothing. CNN and Fox were talking about it. How can you come back with nothing? They're not trying that with Trump. And what did Fonta say? They confident in his crazy? They ain't trying it. They are not trying it. When a man will show you a picture of your house and say, I'll kill you, you better believe that. Put the next one up. What's your take on Tom Homan concerning Border Caesar? This is a question. I think I have not investigated that very much. I saw a couple of things, but I'll tell you my perspective concerning the border right now. That you've got, I forgot the guy's name, and it may be his name, but he is raising a whole bunch of sand at the fact of the way the last administration handled the border. A whole lot of sand. And so I do understand, and I've read some things, that Border Patrol is very excited that Trump is in office. Now, if it's a lie, then the Associated Press said it. But they're very excited that Trump is in office. Now, with that being said, I do believe that what we're getting ready to experience now concerning our borders is a tightening up. If everybody is straightened up to the point, if Mexico is talking about they're trying to fix the border, Mexico also, it was, there was a van on its way to the United States in Mexico that before it got here, Mexicans stopped it because they were like, we don't want any problems, not only with the United States, we don't want any problems with this president's getting ready to come in. I do believe that the majority of the world thinks Trump is crazy. I believe the majority of Americans think Trump is crazy. I think a lot of people may have voted for him because he's crazy. And their attitude was, he's crazy enough to blow up a country. You got to remember something. He's got that thing that I just told you all concerning about Afghanistan, that is a Rome mentality. That is a Roman mentality. That's a Roman mentality. Now remember, scripturally, when we look at Rome, Caesar said this: if one Roman citizen is killed or touched in a country, all of Rome goes to war. When you go into somebody's country and tell them you got one time to kill one American, and I'm going to kill you and your family, and I'm going to tear all this up, that's a whole different kind. That's a whole different kind of problem. When you got in office and the next day, there was a trade of $1 trillion in the stock market. Somebody's scared of something. This is interesting. There's a lot to see here. Oh man, I only got 12 more minutes. Give me the next thing. Give me the next thing. I got to move quick. Was Trump impeached before? Yes. Trump was impeached. Yes, ma'am. Trump was impeached. And you can see that they put that whole list. I'm seeing if I can find it. They put that whole list up. Go to a Vanity Fair. And if you go to Vanity Fair put Trump on the front of their magazine. And when they put him on the, let me see if I can find it. When they put him on the front of the magazine, they put everything that he had done. Here it is. It says 34 felony counts, 1 conviction, 2 cases pending, 2 impeachments, 6 bankruptcies, 4 more years, the 47th president of the United States. That's on Vanity Fair right now. That's on Vanity Fair right now. And so you can take a look. That's what it looks like. That's on Vanity Fair right now. Yep. Put the next one up. Thank you, Bishop, for having an open-minded perspective that most African American leaders have not given. Most have a knee-jerk reaction that makes most of our congregations fearful of Trump. Ain't nothing to fear with Trump. I believe. I believe that at this point, that Trump knows. I think you got to look at the other thing you got to look at is the fact that Trump now is working on his legacy. See, when his presidency is over, he needs to be able to walk in a room in the United States. He needs to be able to walk in Black neighborhoods, white neighborhoods, Latino neighborhoods, and not have to risk being killed. You know, so you have to look at it. He's working on legacy now, and there's some things that he's going to change. Now, some people may not believe that he's going to be good for the church. I personally believe that he is. I personally believe that he is. Go ahead. Give me the next one. Do you think if the Democrats had someone to run besides Kamala, would have won the office of presidency? I will tell you this, NJ Brown, I will tell you this. I do not believe that Trump would be president right now or would be our next president if Michelle Obama had run. I don't think he could have beat her. I don't think he could have beat her. She's smart. She's brilliant. She's a lawyer. She's sharp. She's got savvy. I don't think he could have beat her. Maybe, but I don't think so. And the reason being is because because you can't rattle her. And see, the thing is that if you're going to be a female president, you're going to have to be poised. You're going to have to be very, very poised. And Michelle Obama is extremely poised. I don't think he could, and maybe he could have. But you think about this. Look how close it was between Kamala and Trump. Kamala had 48 million votes, I believe. No, 48%. And Trump had 50+%. That's Kamala. Now imagine Michelle. Michelle is a different kind of monster. She just didn't want to be president. But that's very powerful when you know you could be, but just don't want to be. That's a whole different power by itself. That sister, that's a powerful sister. Next question. Go ahead, put it up. Do you believe Trump being in this position will push back the possibility of World War III? I think that he will push it back as well as he can. But let me tell you this. If God wants World War III to stop, Trump is just going to be in it. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if that is the case. If that is the case, all someone has to do, which is Russia or China or Iran, is push a button against the United States. And I promise you, that is bait. Trump is going straight in. Now, I do believe that Trump is going to be petty for about 8 months. I'm telling y'all my opinion. I think he's going to be petty for about 8 months. And I think that those that messed with him, he's going to be petty. Trump is petty. Trump is petty. Go ahead. Next one. He is. I just believe a lot of things are prevented when there's a strong male presence. I do too. I do too. I believe in masculinity in a way that you know, women, you give me your perspective of what I'm getting ready to say. But I do believe that when a man is present, a woman is not taken advantage of like with a mechanic. When a man is present, there's certain things that, because when they know that a man is around, there's a whole different perspective. Because if a man is around, they also know that there are a lot of men. I ain't gonna say all men because some men are pushovers, but there are a lot of men that are not pushovers, that are willing to kick over some tables and turn over some desks. So, and I believe that Trump is that kind of dude, because I believe he's getting ready to make believers out of everybody in the international sector. You got to have a strong presence in the international sector. That makes it comfortable for us to be able to go to another place in the world and they know that we are that we're Americans, and know that our president, if you do something to us, he gonna blow all of this up, that'll make you think twice. Next question. I don't like the personality and the rhetoric of Donald Trump. However, I do think he was placed in the presidency to serve the will of God. I need him to do that and leave the rest alone. I agree, but I do believe that he has an assignment by God. I do believe that. I do believe that in a time of World War III, he's probably one of the best that we can have in office, because he's not going to take any junk, and he's not a pushover. He's not a pushover, not at all. Give me the next. What is the difference between Clinton being impeached and Trump being impeached? Their impeachments really was the same. There are two types of impeachment. There's an impeachment that what I call a legal impeachment, that you've been impeached, which means it's just really a slap on the hand. There's another impeachment, which means you got to get out of office. And neither one of them, Clinton or Trump, was impeached that they had to get out of office. But their impeachment it is a smudge against their record, and basically that's what that is. Give me the next one. Good question, Erica. Good evening. Do you think the Venezuelans and the Ukrainians will be deported as well? I don't believe that when you're dealing with immigration and different things like that, I don't believe one group is targeted. Now, I do believe that the press kind of puts certain things out there, and so it makes it look like certain groups are targeted. But I think that, and those groups are Latinos, Mexican in particular, because all Latinos are not Mexican. But I think Latinos, Mexican in particular, and maybe Cubans. I think Venezuelans, and I think Haitians. I think all of that. I think they're the group that is talked about more than the rest. But there's so much more than that, than those groups that are illegal immigrants. But I do believe that some will be deported. I don't believe they're going to deport everybody. I just don't. There's not enough manpower. But there is enough manpower to remove the individuals that are creating problems. Those that are rapists and things like that. Like, for instance, how they beat that man, and they should have beat him when in turn that he violated that child. Anybody hearing that? Anybody hearing that? Now, please understand something. Now, remember, I have two churches in Africa. And when I went to South Africa, there is a street justice. I talked about it one time before. There is a street justice, or a tribal justice, that even in South Africa, that if you violate a child, or you're caught sleeping with another man's wife or something like that, they don't call the police until after they have killed you. Check it out. Now, I got churches there. I've been there. I know the culture. Give me the next one. Has Trump added any blacks to his cabinet staff? I don't know yet. I don't know, but that's something that I will check on. But do I believe he will? Yes, he did it the last time. I don't think that he's going to go. I think it will be stupid for him to go into this presidency without having blacks in his cabinet. I think that's dumb. And I don't believe he's that stupid. Give me the next one. He better not be. How different is this Trump from the first term and Trump we have now? I think that this Trump that we have now is because you're familiar with the office, because you're familiar with the players that are there, and then the fact that you had 4 years to watch what's going on and think about what's been torn down, the damages that are there. So I think that he's wiser. But please do not forget, I said this. I still think Trump is petty, and I think that Trump is going to go after those people that gave him problems. Give me the next one. This may be a question for another session. How does Trump's triumph relate to eschatology? I think Trump's triumph relates to eschatology concerning World War III, the sixth trumpet war in Revelations, the 9th chapter, starting at the 13th verse. I believe that Trump, because the war states, the scripture states that this war is going to cause 1/3 of mankind to die. I do believe that we're in that space, that we're getting ready to have major war. And right now, everybody is hollering peace, peace. But remember, the scripture also tells us when people says peace and safety, the scripture says that's when sudden destruction shall appear. So when I'm seeing all of these people saying they want peace, I'm thinking about it a whole nother way, because the scripture says that's when sudden destruction is going to appear. But thank you for that question. Give me the next. Not sure if this question has been asked. However, what is Elon Musk's role in this administration? I think Elon, from what I am noticing, Elon, number one, Elon backed Trump. Now, if you go back in the history of this thing, Elon really didn't like Trump in the beginning. Elon has always backed Democrats. He's always backed them. All right. But what happened was the Biden administration did something against one of Elon's businesses. And it's like he started getting targeted. So because Elon would exchange social media attacks with Trump, he had an issue with him. But because the Biden administration somewhat targeted Elon, it made him a bit bitter, I think. And so he put all of his strength behind Trump. I think Trump is now going to listen to him concerning things like, because remember, Trump's intention is just like the intention of Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, I don't know if you remember when Ronald Reagan had this thing, he wanted something called Star Wars. And Star Wars, everybody was scared of Star Wars. Other countries scared of Star Wars. Because basically Star Wars, for Ronald Reagan, he says there's going to be a space military that literally shot down, and anybody that bothered the United States, the bomb would come from space and blow everything up. I think Trump is in that same mindset. And so Elon Musk plays a very important role when it comes to our military that is connected to space and also technology. That's what I think. Give me the next. Wow, I'm at 6:02. This is interesting. All right, guys, because I've seen that they've got some questions that I could not get to, but I see the questions. I see the questions that are there, but maybe we can deal with this the next time. Do we need to have this talk again? Just tell me that. Do we need to have this talk again? Because we really need to understand, and one of the things I did not get into, and I want everybody to hear me, I need the Black culture. And I'm not speaking against any other race or anything like that, but hear me. I need the Black culture to not be so upset about what you can't change and learn how to capitalize on what you can't change. We got to figure out how then can we benefit? How can we benefit? How can we make this work for us for the next 4 years? At the end of this 4 years, you need to be a multimillionaire. At the end of this 4 years, you need to be financially independent. At the end of this 4 years, you need to own more than one piece of real estate. At the end of this 4 years, don't hate something so much that in turn you don't capitalize on it. Please understand what I'm saying. When the Titanic went down, and I've talked about it before. When the Titanic went down, do you know a lot of people didn't have to die, but it was their perspective that killed them? And I still don't know, some of y'all are saying, what does that mean? I'll explain to you what it means. The Titanic hit a huge iceberg. People were in the water and they were dying. But they looked at the iceberg as an enemy. The ship is sinking. Guess what wasn't sinking? The iceberg. Had they jumped on the iceberg, many of them that died would have lived. Because the iceberg proved to be stronger than the Titanic, which was the unsinkable ship. The iceberg was solid. Here's the thing that I need to say. Jump on the iceberg and find out how it can benefit you. You have to have a different perspective, because if you don't change your perspective, you can find yourself in the water when you can be saved on the iceberg. I'm seeing people say part two, part two, part two, part two, part two, part two, part two. 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 I guess there's going to be a part two. Part two. Part two. Ongoing discussion. Part two. Most definitely. Then we will do it. This is the way that you can sow. This is the way that you can give. $7, if you would, if the Lord lays on your heart to give more, then do that. If he lays on your heart to give nothing, do that. Whatever you do, it's appreciated. These are the ways to give. Cash App, $ Dr. Kevin E. Williams, Zelle, drkevinewilliams@gmail.com, paypal.me/Dr. Kevin E. Williams. Mail it to 1822 Sharp Road, Greensboro, North Carolina, 27406. Ways to connect with us, and that is Facebook, Dr. Kevin A. Williams, X, Dr. KAW Official, YouTube at Kevin A. Williams 777, Instagram, Dr. Kevin A. Williams Official, Megaboss News 777@gmail.com. And those of you who don't know, I'm a boxing promoter now. Me and Dr. Deborah King, the only daughter of the promoter Don King, is actually my partner. We're partnering together, and we're bringing professional boxing to North Carolina. Professional boxing, North Carolina. This is the way you can get your tickets, and it is going to be at the event center that I've named after my mama and dad, and it's going to be fire that night. We're bringing boxing to professional boxing, not just boxing, professional boxing to North Carolina. And there are major things that are happening that I can't tell you about now, but I promise you, things are looking a bit different. Fire is happening, and it's the fire of the Holy Ghost and the fire of creativity. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. The moment that you limit yourself by listening to other people and their perspective of you, you'll lose. How do you win? Stop listening to people that are hating on you, but they're still watching you. You know what that tells me? That tells me that you have something that they're jealous about, and they hope that they can get you off your game so that you're not effective. That's why I'm telling everybody right now, we cannot change the election. I don't care who won. You can't change the election. To me, the purpose of the election, once you find out who wins, the purpose of the election is for you to understand how you're going to think next. How you're going to think next. Now, if there's anybody that wants to be a sponsor when it comes to the boxing, because this boxing that we're doing, this is not just a one-nighter. Kings of the Canvas is a series. So that means every 12 weeks, you're going to be seeing boxing. So if you want to be a sponsor, get those names out there. We've got some major networks that are looking at us. It is going to be straight fire. Straight fire. So I've said enough. I will say this. We're going to do a part 2. Andre said part 3 and part 4. I got you, Andre. I got you. All right. So a lot to learn, and I want to get us out there so we're thinking differently. Now I'm on my way to church. Prophet Gary Sprewell is at the church. Today is November the 12th, and he starts tonight. November the 12th, 2024. He starts tonight, and he'll be here through Friday. And then he's going to be with us on Sunday. All right. So I'll see you all at church. I love you. Thank you for your time today. And thank you for supporting. Blessings always.